Most of us have heard the statistic about how nearly 50% of all marriages are ending in divorce. But when you're young and in love, it's easy to ignore the numbers and aim to become the exception. Many of us may have even been cautioned against young marriage by family members, much to our chagrin. However, it does turn out that it would be wise to pay attention to at least one statistic. Did you know that according to the National Center for Health Statistics, about 60% of all couples who marry between the ages of 20 and 25 are destined for divorce? There is a direct correlation between couples who marry young, specifically those who marry before the age of 25, and an increased rate of divorce. This speech will demonstrate the problem of marrying young and the increased risk of divorce that's associated. I will also discuss the reasons why it is harder for those who are married young to stay together, and I will present the obvious solution to the problem. In addition, I will point out that simply waiting to get married is leading to a decreased divorce rate. According to the Wall Street Journal, social scientists frequently note that young marriage is the #1 predictor of divorce. Couples who marry young are twice as likely to divorce as those who wait until they're in their later 20s to get married. But why is marriage so much harder for those who commit young? According to Divorce 360, young couples often get married for the wrong reasons, and they tend to be too emotionally immature to even recognize what they're lacking. They often over-romanticize marriage, and they're drawn to the ideas of financial security, social acceptance, and love. Younger couples often tend to be blindsided by problems that can arise, such as unplanned pregnancy, unemployment, and in-law relationships. In addition, young couples don't have the benefit of time spent together. According to the Chicago Tribune, young people don't have the opportunity to build positive memories to carry them through difficult times. Science may also be a factor. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, women's brains are not fully developed until the age of 25, while men's brains take until between the ages of 25 and 30 to fully develop. Younger people can also fall more easily prey to endorphins in the body that cause them to feel good when they're around their partner. They enjoy the pleasant feeling and they assume that it will last forever. However, the Chicago Tribune states that studies show that endorphins in marriage only last for about 3 years. So how can we solve the problem of higher divorce rates among those married young? Well, the simple answer is to encourage those thinking of doing so to put it off. Examine the factors above and how they play into your life and your relationship. Be as honest as possible with yourself. Recognize the research. An article on CNN.com reports the divorce rates are dropping each year at an average rate of 5 percentage points. The reason for this is because couples are choosing to marry later in life. According to the BBC News, in 1960, 72% of all American adults were married. However, in 2010, just 51% were. Couples should really try to wait until they're able to explore their own identities and come into themselves as people. They should also aim to spend longer amounts of time together before they're married, making memories. This creates more of a foundation to stand on once married and when they encounter hard times. Waiting to get married until couples are at least in their mid-20s will lead to a decreased risk of divorce. As mentioned above, divorce rates are falling, probably because couples are choosing to marry later in life. According to CNN.com, about a third of men and women ages 25 to 28 have never been married. Couples in their mid-20s are generally more established and have often graduated from college, which leads to better economic stability. This, in turn, leads to less instances of divorce. This speech has covered the problem of marrying young and the risks associated. I've also discussed why it is harder for those who are married young to stay married. I've presented the obvious solution to the problem, which is to wait to get married. And I've also demonstrated that people who are simply waiting to get married are creating a decreased divorce rate. And finally, of course it is especially difficult when emotions are involved to be able to think clearly and recognize that you could become a statistic. Young couples are often blinded by what they perceive to be true love, and they feel that they must be the exception to the rule. However, the data simply disagrees that every couple could be an exception to the rule. The reality is, as evidenced by the above statistics, most couples who are married before their mid-20s are extremely susceptible to divorce. If you are one of those couples who are young and in love, please take a moment to truly understand the risk you are thinking of taking. Slow down and recognize the wisdom in waiting to get married.